What's up, Nerfers, and welcome back to my channel, where today I bring you the S400 video that a lot of you have been waiting for. Bullpups are by far my favorite style of Nerf blaster. This one right here is absolutely no exception. By having the magazine all the way at the back of the blaster, it allows you to have a massively long barrel, giving you the power of a full-size Nerf sniper in a compact package. This thing, for example, is easily clearing 300 FPS straight out of the box, but it's also short enough that you can easily maneuver it around for tight areas in close quarters, giving you the best of both worlds. Now, this bad boy right here was sent to me thanks to ZWQ themselves, along with a little bit of help from Stephen Chen at Break Ice. See, ZWQ originally wanted me to take this back with me from Taiwan in my luggage. I didn't really have the space for that, so I got Stephen to ship back to me in Australia here. You'll be able to find this for yourselves at Out of Darts in the USA, Ideal Foam Blaster in Singapore, Blaster Tech here in Australia, as well as all the darts in the UK, plus a few others that are all linked down below. Out of Darts though, they are an affiliate link, so if you use them, I get some money. Speaking of money, this is a fairly affordable blaster. It sits between a Worker Seagull and Worker Harrier in terms of price points. So for an injection molded blaster of this quality, it is quite a good deal. To touch on that durability a bit, it is an injection molded blaster, as I just mentioned, so step up over anything 3D printed. It is also a clamshell design, so it's two halves held together by pins with a screw through the other side of them. It is quite a nice way of holding the blaster together compared to screws that traditional Nerf blasters might use instead, which can strip. It's very durable. Basically no flex to it at all. And it does have some added niceties like a rubber butt pad at the back for your shoulder. Up the front, as you'd expect from a Bullpup blaster, we've got a very long barrel there, a 45cm one. It's worker spec with a thread, so you can use any of the Harrier barrels if you want to go longer, experiment, anything like that. I quite like the included barrel. It's a perfect length to keep it nice and compact while giving you over 300 FPS. It also has a 16mm outer diameter, so you can use any kind of muzzle device, rifling that you like. Today I'm just using ZWQ's own 30 bearing B-car they call the Cyclone. This is a CNC metal B-car with a 30 bearings. It just gives you enough spin to give you some accuracy boost to your Nerf darts. Coming from the barrel now to the front of the shell, we've got probably my first downside of the blaster. That is that the M-LOK slots on here aren't actually proper M-LOK slot size. They're a bit smaller, so they won't fit any of your M-LOK attachments. They're mostly just for looks. But you do get screw-on Picatinny rails for both sides, so it's not a huge downside. You can still put flashlights or cameras and things on there. Taking a look at the bottom of the blaster now, we've got a foregrip there which attaches to Picatinny rail. The included foregrip is quite small. I don't quite fit my pinky finger on there, so I can see a lot of you swapping that out for a foregrip of your own, just so you can fit your whole hand on there. Although the prime of this blaster is quite lightweight, so you don't need to have your whole hand on there. You can get away with the included grip. I can still see people changing it out though, even though I didn't for all of the gameplay footage. If you take a closer look inside the bottom fake M-LOK slots, you can see some rollers there that give us a nice smooth prime. Got two of those on each side, helping guide your prime nice and straight and nice and smooth. I've also got to say that with the 300 plus spring, it is quite a light prime. I can do it with one finger. Your mileage may vary. But touching on that 300 spring, I should probably show you how to install that, because even though it is included in the box, it's not the default spring that's in the blaster. To get to the spring and swap it out, simply remove two screws from either side of the blaster, a small one at the top and a bigger one at the bottom. You've also got to reach down through a slot in the top Picatinny rail to remove a grub screw. But once you do that, the entire front of the blaster will pull out and you're able to access that spring. Man, I'm filming this on a 40-degree day and there's just so many flies around. Now, one of the standout stylistic features of the S400 is obviously the top carry handle Picatinny rail. Not a lot of Nerf blasters have that, so it stands out from the crowd with that rail. If you take a closer look at it, it does also have built-in front and rear iron sights inside of the Picatinny rail itself. So if you don't own a sight, you can actually use that instead. As usual, I will of course be using my HoloSun 1x red dot optic. This one's discontinued, so stop asking where you can buy it in the comments. Every single video it seems. Moving down from the top Picatinny rail, we've got an AEG style motor grip. Wouldn't be surprised if this suits a lot of airsoft and gel blaster ones. Simply attach it with a bolt that goes up through the middle of it into the shell itself. We've also got an ambidextrous trigger safety. So we've got one on each side, easily hit by your finger there, which stops the trigger from being pulled at all. As for the trigger itself, I wouldn't say it's the best trigger, Definitely not the worst though. It's got a little bit of play you got to take up, which feels a little bit spongy, but once you hit the wall, it's basically a hair trigger from then on. And even with the 300 FPS spring, it is not a hard trigger pull at all, like some blasters end up being. Coming to the magwell, that's where we have some interesting design choices from ZWQ here. It actually comes with two separate magwells, and the first one that comes installed in it out of the box is more of a cosplay or cool looking magwell that takes a larger size mag. It's not quite a full length spec mag though, so you cannot use full length darts in this blaster. What I would recommend doing though is swapping it out for the other included mag, which takes the skinnier magazines so you can carry more of them on you. Unfortunately, this blaster doesn't take worker Talon mags out of the box. A crazy design choice given how popular worker Talons are in our hobby. They're the go-to magazine that pretty much everyone has and uses already. Although you may have noticed mine is taking worker Talons. All I did with mine, I gave it a quick modification. There's some plastic ridges inside there, 3 of them. You need to shorten the first 2 a bit, and then a Talon mag will fit in there nice and easily. In fact, it'll even gravity drop. Another option you have if you don't want to modify that yourself, which I just used some wire cutters to cut the plastic on. Ideal Foam Blaster and a couple of other retailers are selling 3D printed magwells for this, which also switch the release lever to the back so that you don't have to put your Talons in backwards. So that is another downside with this. If you're using the included magwell and Talons, you have to put them in backwards, which if you like to share your magazines to other people, or if you have sidearms that take Talons, you're gonna have darts backwards in some of your mags to suit this blaster specifically. So I recommend saving yourself some trouble, just buying that magwell from Ideal Foam Blaster. There's also some other minor features like a sling point on the left, one at the top there. But overall, I think I've covered pretty much everything about the blaster. Oh, it doesn't have slam fire as well, which I actually like. I would rather have to actually aim my shots rather than just spam fire it, which you cannot do with this blaster at all. With the overview covered, let's go and get it tested.
For the testing today, I'm just going to use 1 gram worker darts. I tried longer, heavier saber darts and they averaged around 270 feet per second, but something about the S400 was cutting up the backs of the darts. The pusher goes quite a bit past the foam, so I suspect it's actually damaging the dart below on the way past. Worker darts did end up performing incredibly well in this blaster, so I don't mind skipping out on the saber darts today.
Okay, 300 FPS spring, 1 gram darts. Let's see what it does. 343, 328, 329, 319, 328, 328, 331, 331, 333, 337, 329, 335, 339, 339, 339, and that's all 15 shots.
Over the chrono, 1 gram worker bamboos averaged 332 feet per second, and that's through a 30 bearing B car, and also after the spring had been used for an entire day of gameplay. That's very impressive. The variation was also well controlled with a standard deviation of 6, meaning it does have the potential for some incredible accuracy, so let's go and find out.
Okay, Nerfers, for the accuracy test today, standard 1 meter diameter round target. Going to be shooting from 30 meters away or 100 feet. I have noticed after a full day of gameplay, my grips come a little bit loose. Might have to tighten that later. Literally just pull that screw down, this opens and you can tighten the bolt inside. I'm going to be using this sandbag as a rest, give me a very stable platform to aim from, and I'm using the 1x red dot from Hollow Sun. Worker darts. High center, not too bad. Same with that. Actually, the worker darts are doing really well. A little lower. All right. All right. Little left. little behind right, little low and left, little right, little high, and that's all 13 shots.
From 30 meters away, the S400 shot a 50 centimeter spread. Quite impressive for worker darts, actually. It's a pity the blaster was munching saber darts up because they generally do shoot a little more accurately than worker darts do. But now that I've run it through its paces and used it in some gameplay, what do I think of the S400 overall? Well, at an average of 330 feet per second with a very manageable prime, this is by far the most powerful bullpup I've tested so far. While I love the metal construction of the Guardian Lynx, it just doesn't have the power of the S400 here. There's only really one complaint I have about the S400, and that's the lack of Talon compatibility out of the box. Mine was also shredding the back of longer darts like Saber or Dart Zone, but that could be a result of my modifications not aligning the Talon mags perfectly straight. My suggestion for you guys at home is to get the 3D printed Talon mag well from IFB, or if anyone else starts to make them as well, rather than modifying yours like I did. Aside from that, this is an amazing blaster at a very affordable price. Anyone that was considering a worker Harrier can now consider this as a bullpup alternative if you want something a bit shorter but just as powerful for close quarters. The build quality is also up there with the worker blasters, and far nicer than an X-Shot long shot as well. Find it at Out of Darts, IFB, Blaster Tech, and all the darts. That's all I have for you nerfers today. Like, comment, subscribe, and all of that. Here's 2 other videos you might enjoy. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.